As we move into the third folder of work, we've got a section on 3D in Illustrator. And I'll start with the process called extrusion, and I'm going to start with type. I've just typed out this little bit here. Now, a couple of things about type that you might like to know is that you can change the capitalization from the type panel and make it uppercase if you like. I think I want to stick with uppercase. It just seems like it looks a little better. Some of these effects in all caps. And I'll change the color of my type. Again, it just looks a little better in color than it does to just leave it in black. For one thing, the 3D shadows are going to be in black, and so black on black doesn't really work so well. I did also want to mention that you can tighten the spacing between the letters using the character panel drop down. The tracking option here, give it a minus and it'll tighten up the type. Looks a little better a lot of times for headlines and that sort of thing to take some of that space out. Okay, so I've got my bit of type there that I'm going to add the 3D effects to, and I just go up to Effect. It's the first of the Illustrator effects. It's called Extrude and Bevel. Now, right away you get this interaction, and if you click on the preview, you get a nice little report right away that looks very nice as far as some nice sharp 3D type. Look at some of the options that you have here. You can change the positioning of the type by spinning the little box here. If you click in the gray, sometimes it'll kind of clear it up so you can see it. Okay, then you can also rotate it back. You can see that. Okay, you can rotate it in this direction. And see the effect of all that. Okay, I'm just going to kind of move it back. Maybe a little bit more. And tip it down. Alright, now you can see the type there in behind my box. As you look at the other options here, there is a place where you can change the light that falls on the object. I'm going to OK right here and just zoom in so we can see this a little better when I make these adjustments. Or once you've made the adjustments, to continue to make adjustments, go to the Appearance panel, Appearance, and you click on it here, and you're right back in to making the adjustments. Just click again on the preview, and again you can see now maybe a little bit better how the lighting works on that. There's a couple of other little buttons here. You can set the light so that it is behind the object, and it's kind of lit now as a backlight, which is kind of cool as the light comes through these letters like that. Finding the perfect spot for that. You can add other sources of light. For instance, now I've got it backlit and lit in the front, which is kind of neat. If you're taking photography right now, you might know the advantage of having a highlight behind the subject. There's other options here that you can play with and see if they make any differences in the quality of the picture. Sometimes you can kind of heighten the contrast and the effect here with these. That looks very nice. Highlight intensity. Not seeing a whole lot going on there with that one. Okay, maybe it depends on the light that you've got selected here. Let's see what that does. Yeah, a little bit of change. Okay, the highlight size. Change the size of the highlight. Make it more or less. That's kind of nice. Blending steps has to do with how many steps create that little extrusion there, and I guess you can make some files that are pretty amazing as far as giant size files. I would keep this as low as you can get away with and still look good. You can kind of see it making a change there. If you do few steps, it really makes it look like a facet. But that's not bad either. I mean, it might be what you want. Shading color, you can change the shading color. None doesn't really, maybe works in some circumstances. But think about shading is supposed to be dark. So if I use a custom color, it needs to be really darker than the color of the type. Okay, so I would suggest sticking with a dark color, maybe a dark violet would work. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, see, that looks kind of good. Okay, or maybe even a dark. I wonder if they got any dark greens here that would work with this. It's almost black, isn't it? Yeah, okay. So black is a good choice on a lot of things. Hardly any difference there. Preserve spot color. Draw hidden facets. That's if you want to, I guess, see the back of it or blow it apart. Okay, there is this map art is a way to add new imagery to the surface. And to tell you the truth, I'm not terribly familiar with this. Let's see if that does anything. Yeah, does nothing right there. I'll have to look into that. I did find some old files where I did some map art, and you can put, for instance, words and stuff over the surfaces, and I obviously need a little more work with that. See if any of them do anything for me. Yeah, they're not showing up. Okay, I'll continue to research that for you. Fewer options, more options. There are different types of shading. You can do a wireframe, which is kind of cool looking. No shading doesn't really do much. The diffuse and makes a softer kind of a gradient, and the plastic gives you the little sharper highlights. Okay, I think that's everything in that box. Once you get what you like, you click OK. And again, if you want to change anything, go to the Appearance panel. When you click there, you can go straight back into whatever it is that you're wanting to do. Now, take a look at this in outline view. It's just the regular, the thing you started out with. It really is just an effect. So the outline view looks like this, the preview looks like this. Oh, wow. So one of those things that I did to it did take an effect on my V there. Let's see if I can fix that, because I don't really want it. Okay, I'll select the graphic, go to 3D, and let's see, clear. Okay. Oh yeah, see, it was just on the V. Okay, let's see if, let me check that out again. See, it's showing just the V. I wonder if there's any way to show everything. I'm not sure. Again, I'll try to work with that. Yeah, I don't know. I have to look at this a little closer. Okay. Okay. So anyway, there's how to do type, and that's with the extrude and bevel. It's kind of neat. You definitely do some nice things with that, and you can go back in and adjust anything you want to with it. If you go back to just select it, go back in, and if there's something else you want to do, maybe make the bevel deeper, or change the lighting. You can still do that. Okay. Okay. So anything that you want to do with it, you can continue to do with it. I'm going to take that back because I don't really like it that deep. Okay. All right. That extrude also works with lines and things. So if anything you can draw, you can extrude. And so even things like maybe like something you draw with the pencil, or the pencil is a path generated tool. And so again, maybe cursive lettering. Go to the effect. You can apply the same extrude if you just pull down to the second, or no, you can jump into the extrude and bevel panel. You can apply the same extrude by going to the first one, and you can see that effect. Let's look at that without the selection on it. That's kind of neat the way it comes back through and back around. Okay, so that's pretty nice. Okay. And straight lines, you can do that same way. If you want to, again, if you want to apply the same effect, just touch the top. It's Shift Command E. Anything you can do to a path, you can continue to do to this. If I select and make a new anchor point and go to my selection tool, I can do things like that. I can add more anchor points. I can use my option on my anchor points. I can continue to add new shapes to it. No matter, it's the same thing that we've been talking about all this time. You can just continue to make whatever you want to of it. Okay, you can even go in here and make the stroke a little fatter. Same way over here. Okay, so your 3D continues to function even after you're out of the panel. Stretching it, scaling it, rotating it, all that stuff is still available to you after you finish doing the 3D panel. Stretching, not recommended. Free transform tool. Oh, it doesn't really work on type. Let's see about this. Free transform tool. Distortion. You can do any of that stuff. So all the stuff we've talked about, you can continue to do with the extrude and bevel even after you're out of the panel. Now, if it's something about rotating or extrusion depth or shading color, you just go back into appearance, and you can get it. You can get to it that way, and then you're right back in. Click that on, make all your adjustments, whatever you want to do. Not really seeing a whole lot of adjustment there. There you go. Now it's starting to, you can at least tell a difference. Rotate. Okay. So you can just continue to make all those changes. Okay. I did show you the one with the branding iron, where I made all the letters were made with the pen tool using just a simple kind of deal like this. I made my initials. And I did, let's see, forgot what I was doing there for a second. Here's my initials. Probably use just a regular ellipse for an O. And if you have a way that you want to put these shapes together, let's see, maybe like this, and like this. Make all the strokes the same thickness here. You can then group that. If you don't group it, they adjust separately. So if you group them first, and then do the extrude, you'll get the kind of effect that we're looking for here. And it's kind of neat the way when you deselect, how they merge together like that. Okay, pretty neat. Okay, remember again, anytime you want to change anything, you can use your direct selection tool. You just need to roll over the existing anchor points, not the ones that show on the screen. See what I mean? Like there's an anchor point to make the J a little wider at the top. There's the anchor point to change the curve of in the bottom there. So you have to kind of work with Illustrator here to make the adjustments that you want. White arrow will select individual points. Just great. Okay, not the best design I've ever done. I have got some better ones that I can show you from a drive that I have here. These are some that I had a little more of a chance to work on. Here's a branding iron design that I did for our president a few years ago. Let's see if it comes up on the right page here. There it is. And all that is just that. Now, that was done with the pen tool. I did straight lines, and then I outlined them. What I found out later is you don't really even have to outline them. You can just make them fat lines that overlap, and they'll still make a nice 3D design like that. Okay. All right. Now, so we've got all that. That's the extrusion, and let's see. I don't think we've looked at bevel, did we? Let me bring this one back up. We'll zoom in on it. Remember, select it, go back into the extrude or into the panel, and there's these little graphics you can put on the front here. Now, I've been having a little trouble with this. I think that it maybe is just because it's so small. See if I can get that to update. Yeah, and I can't zoom in. Okay. It puts a kind of a texture on the front of the letters. And this software is not, like I said, it's not the most sensitive and delicate. That's not, that actually, there's still a few glitches in it, but let me OK that, and we'll make it bigger. Did it OK? Okay, let's make it a little bigger so you can kind of see some of the things that it did to it. Yeah, kind of odd the way it treated it. See, there's little problems with it that sometimes come up. When that happens, I just select it and go back in and see if I can do something to make it better. Okay. Usually it's something to do with the height there. Let me see what happens if I just type in 1. A little smoother. Maybe a little smoother. Okay. All right. Okay, so that's the extrude and bevel, and again, you can adjust that and fix it and do a lot of stuff with it even after you're finished. If you want to make it bigger, you just scale it up, and now it's bigger. Here you go. It's really slow, kind of trying to update here. Okay, so let me just move that up and out of the way. I think maybe if I save here, it'll maybe work a little faster. I'm going to take it over to the place where I've been working on these. We'll save it right there. Okay. All right, so that's some of that, the extrude and bevel. There's a couple other functions that you'll be interested in seeing. I'm just going to draw a diagonal line here. Now I do need to give it some color. And you don't have to do a big stroke, but just a straight old diagonal line like that. If I go to my 3D effect and do the revolve and hit preview, you can see it makes an instant cone. I'm going to stop here because my movie's running long, but I'll come back with another one.